What if the real reason your intimacy is fading has nothing to do with age? What if it's not your fault at all, but something far more fixable than you've been led to believe? For millions of men over 60, this quiet decline in circulation, confidence, and connection isn't random. It's the result of a hidden metabolic shift, one that most doctors overlook and one that can be reversed. In fact, one natural food, simple, affordable, and often forgotten, may hold the key to restoring the fire you thought was gone forever. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, and for over 3 decades I've worked with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, helping them reclaim their energy, rebuild their strength, and revive intimacy without pills or risky procedures. I'm here to tell you the problem isn't your age. It's what's happening inside your blood vessels. And the natural solution is far closer than you think. Because here's the surprising truth. Circulation decline, weaker erections, and even testosterone drop are not inevitable. They're the result of something we now understand. And more importantly, something we can fight back against. And the answer isn't found in a drugstore. It's found in the nutrient-rich food your body still craves. In this video, I'll show you the 6 key breakthroughs every man over 60 needs to know, including the powerful food that's been shown to reverse poor circulation and naturally reignite intimacy. Stay with me because in just a moment you'll understand why this one small change can create such a big shift in how you feel and how you connect. Before we dive in, if you're a man over 60 looking to feel stronger, more energized, and more confident, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. I share weekly tips designed specifically to help you restore your vitality naturally. And if this topic speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me make these videos better for you. All right, let's start with what's really going on inside your body. The silent issue that's stealing your circulation, draining your energy, and making intimacy feel more difficult with each passing year. It's not just aging. It's something called endothelial dysfunction. And understanding this could be the turning point in restoring your vitality after 60. 1. The real reason circulation fades after 60. Reason circulation fades after 60 and why it hurts your intimacy. When men come into my office frustrated about changes they've noticed: slower arousal, weaker erections, a general lack of desire, they almost always assume it's just because they're getting older. But here's the truth I always share with them, and now with you: it's not your age, it's your circulation. And more specifically, it's the lining of your blood vessels, known as the endothelium, that's no longer doing its job the way it used to. The endothelium is responsible for producing a powerful molecule called nitric oxide. This is the compound that tells your blood vessels to relax and open up, allowing blood to flow freely, including to the areas that matter most when it comes to intimacy. But as we age, stress, poor diet, lack of movement, and inflammation all chip away at the health of these blood vessels. They stiffen, they narrow, and they stop releasing nitric oxide efficiently. The result: blood flow slows down, and with it your physical performance and connection suffer. Now I say this not just as a physician, but as someone who's had countless one-on-one conversations with men who felt embarrassed, ashamed, even broken. They tell me things like, "Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore." Or, "I still want to be close to my wife, but my body isn't cooperating." And I understand, because when your blood isn't flowing the way it should, it doesn't just affect your body. It impacts your confidence, your identity, and your relationship. The good news is this condition called endothelial dysfunction is not permanent, and you don't need a lifetime of medication to fix it. When we restore nitric oxide production and support the blood vessels through the right foods, movements and habits, we see dramatic improvement not just in blood pressure or cholesterol, but in energy, confidence and yes, intimacy. So what's the fastest, most natural way to support nitric oxide and heal those vessels from the inside out? That brings us to a powerful, often misunderstood truth about modern medicine and why nature might just have a better answer. Keep watching because the next insight may completely change how you think about fixing circulation and reigniting the spark in your life. 2. Why pills? Why pills fail? Fail and nature succeeds. One of the first things men ask me, often in a quiet, almost embarrassed tone is, "Doc, should I just take the little blue pill?" And I get it. When something isn't working the way it used to, we want a fast fix, something that promises results, no questions asked. And those pills can work temporarily. But what most men don't realize is that they're not a solution. They're a crutch, a short-term boost that doesn't actually heal what's broken underneath. Here's the truth I've learned over 30 years of helping men just like you. If your blood vessels are stiff, clogged, or underperforming, a pill that forces blood flow won't fix the root problem. In fact, the more you rely on it, the more your body stops trying to do the job naturally. And then one day the pill doesn't work at all. That's a devastating moment. I've seen men break down in my office, not because they're angry, but because they feel betrayed by their own bodies. I've also seen something else, and it's far more encouraging. I've seen what happens when men take a different path. When they begin feeding their bodies with the nutrients that rebuild blood vessels, support testosterone, and restore energy from within, they don't just feel a temporary boost. They feel alive again. Their skin glows. Their eyes are brighter. Their partners notice. And best of all, it's real. It's their body working the way it was meant to work. That's why I always tell my patients, don't settle for artificial stimulation when your body is still capable of doing it naturally. The human body is astonishingly adaptive even in your 60s, 7s, or beyond if you give it the right tools. And nature, not the pharmacy, holds many of those tools. So what does that look like in real life? What can you actually eat today to begin restoring that natural function and circulation from the inside out? There's one food in particular that I call the forgotten powerhouse. And for good reason. Stick with me because once you hear what's inside it and what it does for your blood flow, you might wonder why no one told you about it sooner. Introducing 3. Introducing the forgotten superfood that rebuilds blood flow and testosterone. If there's one thing I've learned after decades in men's health, it's that the most powerful remedies are often the ones we've overlooked the longest. And in this case, the most effective food for restoring blood flow, rebuilding testosterone, and reigniting male vitality isn't new, exotic, or found in a pharmacy. In fact, your grandfather probably ate it regularly, and your body may be starving for it. Now, that food is grass-fed beef liver. Now I know what you might be thinking. Liver really? And I get it. For a lot of guys, liver brings back childhood memories of being forced to eat it, or it just seems unappealing. But let me tell you something personal. I've had patients in their late 60s and even early 80s come back to me amazed after adding beef liver to their diets just once or twice a week. They say things like, "Doc, I didn't expect much, but I feel like I've woken up." Or, "My energy came back and my wife noticed too." That's because this food isn't just protein. It's concentrated male nutrition. Grass-fed beef liver is loaded with essential nutrients that directly support your circulatory and hormonal systems. It's rich in iron, which fuels red blood cells. It's packed with vitamin B12 and folate to boost energy and brain function. It contains natural zinc and vitamin A both critical for testosterone production. And most importantly, it delivers leucine and coenzyme Q10, two powerful compounds that support blood vessel repair and oxygen delivery, especially to those lower regions that rely on healthy flow. This isn't theory, it's biology. When you nourish your body with what it actually needs, not synthetic substitutes, but real dense ancestral nutrition, you give it permission to heal and perform again. You're not just feeding muscles or hormones. You're reawakening the entire system that supports intimacy, drive, and energy. And the beauty of it all, you don't need to eat it every day. Just a few servings a week or high-quality liver capsules can make a remarkable difference. But as powerful as this food is, there's something else just as important: the timing of when you eat it. Because when it comes to rebuilding circulation and testosterone, when you eat can be just as powerful as what you eat. Let me show you how that works. For what the science says about liver blood flow, and intimacy. When I first started recommending grass-fed beef liver to my patients, I'll admit, some of them looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Liver, that old school food. But after just a few weeks, many came back with stories I never get tired of hearing. I feel stronger. My energy is steady again. Things are working better in the bedroom. And the best part is it wasn't just anecdotal. It was backed by real science. You see, what makes beef liver so powerful isn't just one nutrient. It's the synergy of many. It's loaded with vitamin B12, which supports red blood cell production and oxygen delivery to your tissues. That's critical for stamina and blood flow. It's rich in heme iron, the most absorbable form of iron, which helps keep your energy up and supports proper oxygenation throughout the body. Then there's zinc, which plays a key role in testosterone production. Vitamin A supports hormonal balance and immune function, and leucine, an essential amino acid, helps trigger muscle protein synthesis and supports vascular repair. But perhaps the most underrated nutrient in liver is CoQ10. This compound powers your mitochondria, the energy factories in your cells, including the ones responsible for circulation and heart function. The more CoQ10 you have, the more efficiently your heart pumps, the better your blood moves, and the more alive you feel, both physically and intimately. Studies published in respected journals, like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, have confirmed that older adults who consume nutrient-dense foods rich in these elements show improved vascular health, muscle function, and even hormonal balance. In other words, liver doesn't just sound like an old remedy. It delivers modern results. That's why I call it the forgotten superfood. Because somewhere along the way we swapped real nourishment for processed convenience. But now men like you are rediscovering what our ancestors already knew. Food can be medicine. Still, as I mentioned earlier, food is only part of the equation. When you eat, it plays a surprisingly powerful role, too. And if you've been eating protein the wrong way, you may be leaving your best results on the table. Let's fix that next. What to expect when you start eating this food. 5. What to expect when you start eating this food. One of my favorite moments as a doctor is when a man walks into my office, sits down, and says something like, "Dr. Carrera, I didn't think this would do anything, but something's definitely happening." He usually smiles a little wider. There's a different energy in the way he talks, a spark that wasn't there before. That's when I know his body is waking up. And often it all started with something as simple as eating beef liver once or twice a week. Within the first 2 to 3 weeks, most men start noticing subtle but undeniable changes. Their mornings feel more energized, and that afternoon crash, it starts to disappear. They're more mentally alert, less sluggish, and they feel lighter on their feet. And perhaps, most importantly, something starts shifting below the surface. Blood flow improves, desire returns, and their confidence slowly begins rebuilding itself. But it's more than physical. I've had men tell me that they feel more like themselves again, that they've started flirting with their wives the way they used to, that they finally felt comfortable initiating intimacy again. Not from pressure, but from genuine excitement. And that's the power of restoring circulation and hormonal balance from the inside out. It's not just about better performance. It's about reclaiming a part of your identity that may have quietly slipped away over the years. The best part is these results aren't from drastic changes. You're not overhauling your entire life or swallowing a drawer full of supplements. You're adding back a food your body recognizes, one that fills the nutrient gaps and reactivates the systems that fuel intimacy, strength, and emotional connection. Of course, no one change works in isolation. To get the best results, especially as you age, you have to support your body in multiple ways. And one of the most overlooked but critical factors is timing. Yes, when you eat, your protein, especially foods like liver, can determine how much your body actually uses it. And getting that right could mean the difference between subtle results and something truly life-changing. Let me show you how. 6. But there's one catch. Now I know by this point you might be thinking, if beef liver is really that powerful, why isn't every man over 60 eating it? And that's a fair question. The truth is, most men either don't know what it can do for them or they try it once, don't like the taste, and give up. But here's the catch, and I want to be honest with you about this. None of what we've talked about works if you're not consistent. You can't take one bite of liver or one capsule and expect decades of poor circulation or declining testosterone to magically reverse overnight. The body doesn't respond to quick fixes. It responds to patterns, to habits, to small, powerful decisions made day after day. That's how change happens. And I've seen it happen in the lives of hundreds of men who stayed the course. Men who didn't let old habits or short-term thinking rob them of the energy and intimacy they still deserved. And in return, their bodies began to cooperate again, slowly at first, and then all at once. I've had men come back to me after 30 days looking 10 years younger, not because of anything flashy, but because their system was finally being fed what it needed: better sleep, better mood, better mornings, and most important of all, they felt like men again, alive, connected, and confident. So yes, beef liver or a high-quality desiccated capsule just once or twice a week really can change the game, but only if you give your body the time and consistency to respond. Don't give up too early. The spark doesn't just return overnight. It returns because you earned it. Now, if you've made it this far, you might be wondering, what's the best way to put all this together? You've got the food, you've got the timing, and you know why it works. But how do you turn this into a simple, sustainable routine that actually fits your life? That's exactly what I'll show you next. And trust me, it's easier than you think. Conclusion. It's never too late to reclaim strength, energy, and intimacy. After working with thousands of men over the past 30 years, I can tell you this with absolute certainty: age is not your enemy. The real threat is believing that decline is inevitable. But the moment you understand what's really happening inside your body, the loss of circulation, the hormonal shifts, the nutritional deficiencies, you gain the power to change it. And it doesn't take a miracle. It takes the right steps taken consistently. We talked about how poor circulation is often the root cause of fading intimacy, and how most pills only offer a temporary fix. You've seen why beef liver, a humble, natural, and often forgotten food, can restore blood flow energy, and even testosterone when used properly. You've learned that timing matters just as much as what you eat, and that results don't come from a single meal, but from steady action over time. Most importantly, you've seen that this journey back to vitality is not only possible, it's within reach. I've watched men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s reclaim their confidence, not through drastic changes, but through smart natural choices that support how the body actually works. You deserve that same chance to feel strong again, to feel connected again, and to feel like yourself again. So here's my advice. Don't wait. Don't settle. Start today. Your next chapter can be stronger than your last, and it begins with one small step. If this message resonated with you, I encourage you to stay connected. There's so much more I want to share because the best is truly still ahead. If you found this video helpful, give it a like to let me know and share it with a friend or loved one who could use this information. Drop a comment below. I read everyone, and your feedback helps shape future videos. And if you'd like to support this channel and the work I do, consider making a small donation through the link in the description. Every bit helps me keep bringing natural, life-changing health tips straight to you.